KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, serving Guam for 80 years. And brought to you by Matson and the Adahi Tanu program. Cars Plus, reminding you to put your phone down while driving. Distractions won't get you there. Heads up, Guam. IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurants, always open, always local, and serving up favorites for over 40 years.
Now on Guam's primetime news, a lockdown put in place at the home of the Islanders after a riot erupted in the cafeteria. Our Adriana Cotero has full details. Plus, Chris Barnett gives you a look at the Guam Congressional Office's spending reports. And also tonight, the final public safety town hall meeting was held down in Agate for all of Guam's southern villages.
Afternoon, good evening. I'm Julius Santos. The Guam Department of Education says 2 students are in custody after a huge riot broke out at John F. Kennedy High School during lunch. KUAM's Adriana Cortero has the latest.
Oh God, I was seeing now that one of the boys punched a guy.
Students left in shock after walking out of school this afternoon. Multiple videos circulating on social media showing students throwing punches during a full-blown riot during lunch in the cafeteria. At 11:40 a.m., the school was placed on lockdown. Police were called and additional school resource officers were dispatched to help. GDOE confirmed several students were treated by the school nurses for minor injuries. At 1:45 p.m., students were released on schedule, but in a controlled manner. The entire ordeal is still under investigation, but 2 students were taken into custody. DOE Superintendent John Fernandez issued a comment, quote, "We are grateful that no serious injuries were reported, and we thank the Guam Police Department for the swift response in support of our schools. We also thank our school personnel who helped to end and contain the riot. We will ensure there are appropriate consequences to all involved in today's incident. There is no tolerance for violence at our schools." Reacting to the riot videos that went viral, Guam Federation of Teachers Field Representative Robert Koss says this draws major concerns on the lack of supervision. Quote, "Coverage shows an absence of adult supervision. Since the onset of the school year, teachers have been complaining about a shortage of teachers and support personnel that places students of all ages and employees at risk," end quote. GFT is scheduled to meet with the superintendent on Monday to further discuss the shortage of SPED teachers and lack of school aides and substitute teachers adversely affecting public education. Today's riot, however, is not the only report concerning school safety. GDOE confirms that after school on Wednesday, Southern High School was made aware of a possible threat from a student to bring a weapon to school. In response this morning, GDOE worked closely with the Guam Police Department to coordinate support and to ensure the safety of staff and students. The school was placed on a modified lockdown as GDOE school resource officers conducted a blanket search of arriving students. GPD was also present on campus and had additional support on standby. No weapons were found. Fernandez saying when students are involved, every threat must be taken seriously. We are grateful for GPD's continued support in ensuring the safety of our schools. It was in February the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration launched the Governor's School Safety Partnership, seeking input from the community to strengthen and improve school safety. In May, several stakeholder meetings were held and an online survey was conducted. However, the results and findings of their surveys have not been released yet. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
For the first time in 75 years, Guam has recorded its first locally acquired case of dengue fever. According to Public Health, on Tuesday, a physician reported to the suspected case in a patient that had no travel history outside of Guam. Excuse me. By Wednesday, it was confirmed the individual contracted it on Guam. The locally acquired case of dengue fever is the same type of virus causing outbreaks in Yap, Palau, Marshall Islands, and the Philippines. Public Health has now implemented a heightened response in preventing the local transmission, which includes the activation of a Public Health Incident Command, enhanced surveillance for dengue fever, and the fumigation of areas at high risk for mosquito transmission. Additionally, all healthcare providers have been urged to be on alert for additional cases. Well, the numbers are in, and Congressman Mike Sinicolas is outspending CNMI Delegate Gregorio Kilili Sablan and his predecessor, Madeline Berdalio. That's according to official Congressional Office spending reports. Here's more with Chris Barnett.
KUAM has sent several requests for staffing patterns and office spending to Congressman Mike Nicholas and his staff dating back to February. And we haven't received a single response, but the House of Representatives member spending reports have since been posted by Congress, and those records show St. Nicholas's staff has doubled, going from 12 to 25 from the first quarter to the second quarter. The highest paid staffers on St. Nicholas's payroll, District Director Jennifer Wynn and Legislative Counsel Sahara Defensor. Both are making $85,000 after they both received $2,000 raises in the second quarter. Records show that St. Nicholas's outreach staff of 7 was paid a total of $57,500 for 2 months of outreaching. The average outreach staffer was paid $5,000 a month, with most outreach staff getting $10,000 for a couple months' work. St. Nicholas spent $26,719 on lodging in the first 2 quarters of 2019. His biggest lodging expenditures listed are $3,971 for 6 days, $2,720 on February 26th, and $8,749 spent on May 7th and 8th, and this is according to congressional documents. $8,505 worth of meals were also purchased by the delegate's office. The biggest meals purchased were for $582 on February 20th, $487 on February 24th, $595 on March 29th, and $404 on March 31st. St. Nicholas's office also spent $10,109 on food and beverage, which is defined by Congress as food and drink costs associated with official meetings that include people who are not employed by the House of Representatives. St. Nicholas's office spent $510 at the Capitol Grill, a high-end Washington, D.C. steakhouse, $854 at Outback, $309 at the Sheraton. His biggest food and beverage expense, $7,200 on March 18th. Commercial transportation was the largest expense for St. Nicholas's office at $69,184. Requests by KUAM for rent totals for St. Nicholas's district office were also never returned, but congressional records show St. Nicholas's district office rent is $3,000 a month. He rents from R&D Investments. By comparison, travel costs for St. Nicholas are greater than his predecessor, Madeline Berdallo. In the first 2 quarters of 2018, Berdallo spent $72,138 on travel and travel-associated costs. For that same period in 2019, St. Nicholas has spent $109,594. In total, St. Nicholas's expenditures for 2019 so far, $662,773. CNMI delegate Khalili Sablan has spent less than his Guam counterpart, with $527,462 in expenditures this year. For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
As a member of Congress, Delegate St. Nicholas receives an office budget of $1.4 million. The feds have officially filed their motion to intervene in the Gura whistleblower case filed by Raymond Tapasnia. The initial case was filed by Tapasnia in 2015, was unsealed or made public last month. According to the motion filed by the feds on Thursday on behalf of HUD, it names Mark Smith and Glenn Wong as defendants. Smith in March 2011 was hired as Gura's legal counsel and was landlord of multiple properties under the federal Section 8 program, which is a conflict of interest and violation of law. Smith in November of 2011 allegedly transferred the properties to Glenn Wong in an attempt to conceal the fact that he was the actual owner. When these Section 8 payments were made, Wong would allegedly distribute the money in various methods to pay Smith's credit cards, loans, and other obligations. After Tapasnia reported the matter to the feds and the AG's office, according to court documents, he was terminated from the agency. He's now back as executive director after being hired by the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration. Well, another, quote, pay adjustment at Adelup. As we've reported, the governor's office has handed out raises they call, quote unquote, pay adjustments or even pay corrections. This time, Governor's staff assistant Evany Hokug on the receiving end of a $8,840 pay adjustment, meaning her pay went from $35,430 annually to $43,910 a year. Department of Administration docs show the raise was filed on August 20th with an effective date of August 5th. Hokug is a federally funded employee in the governor's community outreach office. According to our files, Adelup has handed out $30,000 in pay adjustments or pay corrections. Staff Assistant Gus Afflegui and Special Assistant Bob Lizama both received received $10,000 raises. Adelup staffers Eleni Tahaji and Josephine Cepeda both received $5,000 raises. Adjutant General Esther Agigi's $41,000 pay adjustment was revoked after reported on the raise, which was defended by Adelup spokeswoman Janela Carrera and later called a mistake. Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio eventually took credit for the raise, which he signed off on while the governor was off island. The raise was rescinded by Governor Leon Guerrero. Well, Guam Fire Department investigators are looking into the cause of a fire at the Gresco warehouse in Agate. A passerby reported smoke coming from the structure at around 6:07 last night. Several units from GFD and the Navy were dispatched. The fire was brought under control about an hour and a half later. There were no reports of injuries. Now, the final town hall public safety meeting was held last night in Agate, and while some residents are calling for more meetings in the South, there doesn't seem to be any interest from mayors and the administration. Here's more with Chris Barnett.
The last town hall public safety meeting held last night in Agate, and Governor Leon Guerrero calling out ICE dealers as the source of a lot of Guam's crime problems.
I'm very concerned about high drug trafficking in our community because I think that's the basis of the crimes that we see today. And that's a very sad statement to make about our community, but that's the reality.
Meetings held in Mangilao, Tamuning, Dedido, Jigo, Agani Heights, and Agate, but the Agate meeting was only announced a week before it occurred. The Agate meeting billed as being for all southern residents, meaning Jotnia, Ipan, Talafofo, Malolo, Maleso, Umatic, Agate, Santa Rita, and PD residents were being given one opportunity to be heard. This did not sit well with Talafofo resident Tom Diego.
If it's possible to have it one in Talafofo also, maybe for Inarahan, Talafofo, Malolo, our side, because I'm sure that there are a lot of other concerned residents that want to voice their opinions and give their suggestions as far as more ideas, but it's actually by far, and even the timing. I came from work right after 5, so I was fighting with the traffic.
Officially, Governor spokeswoman Crystal Paco tells KUAM News in a text message, what we noticed in Mangilao was that Barragata residents were showing up, and Agani Heights Sinahanya residents showed. If attendees say they would like more time with us in their village, we will set it up and do so. But Governor's Special Assistant Bob Lazama said Southern mayors didn't step up, and that's why there was only one meeting for the South's 8 villages.
The mayors of the east side of the southeast side of Guam wants to have a meeting. They're welcome to give me a call, and we can organize the meeting that we did with all the other villages who stepped up to the plate and asked for the public safety meeting in their village.
While Southern residents may want a chance to vent about how unsafe Guam is now, Mayor's Council Executive Director Angel Sablan says the time for talking is over.
Everything that has to be said, has been spoken about. And so it's time for us to now get into the implementation portion and get all those suggestions and ideas that were put forth and put it into action. It's not necessary to go to every village. I mean, it'll be the same story.
Anyone else?
For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
Free for a day. Another erroneous release was made by the Department of Corrections. On September 9th, 42-year-old inmate Rodney Cruz walked out of the Manilao facility and then was reconfined the next day. KUAM reached out to DOC Director Samantha Brennan, who says, quote, "It's an ongoing investigation and we cannot comment at this time," end quote. Cruz has been in and out of DOC over the last several years on various charges to include terrorizing, child abuse, strangulation, and aggravated assault. This is the third erroneous release at DOC this year. Well, the Department of Corrections requests a grant extension for the $250,000 they were awarded back in 2016 by the Department of Interior. The federal money was granted for an assessment and master plan development to bring growth, safety to DOC. The grant was reaching expiration at the end of this month, but according to DOC Director Samantha Brennan, the date was extended to September 2020. KUAM asked for an interview for further details, and she said, quote, "I have no further comments at this time." A tentative multi-billion-dollar settlement has been reached in the case against opioid manufacturer Purdue Pharma. Guam is one of the many jurisdictions that has sued the maker of OxyContin. In a statement, AG Levin Camacho said his office is in active discussions with the company, and any funds recovered should be used locally for treatment and rehabilitation, education, monitoring, and enforcement. The AGO filed suit in local court back in August, causing Purdue accusing Purdue of violating Guam's Deceptive Trade Practices Act by misleading doctors and patients about the safety and effectiveness of opioids to increase its profits. The complaint also describes a deceptive marketing campaign to push the highly addictive drugs while downplaying the dangers of addiction with long-term use. The AG says there were more than 97,000 opioid prescriptions dispensed in Guam in the last 4 years alone. Well, stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Matson is in this community. We've been in this community for decades. We're gonna be in this community for decades to come. Things will get busy, things will get quiet, but we're gonna be here. We're your hometown carrier. And that matters to us.
Reliability is the core of our business. We take pride in ensuring that we arrive in Guam on time as scheduled.
It's our local employees who understand the market, who understand the business, and provide that hard work for you each and every day.
When we hold ourselves to high standards, our customers also hold us to high standards. We establish good business relationships that turn into friendships. That's why it's so important to be here and be trusted by your customers. We want you to trust Matson like your friend, like your family.
Half the day, I'm in the club.
Half a day, welcome to Two Lovers Point.
Half a day, I'm in the club.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Choose, press, play. Check out the latest flicks at home on Docomo Pacific View It On Demand, powered by TiVo. Here's our top picks for the month. Choose, press, play, and enjoy endless entertainment with View It On Demand, powered by TiVo on Docomo Pacific. Better together.
It's a special